Hello, everybody, and welcome to the afternoon tune. I'm your host, Josh, and with me, I got a special guest host today. I got Chris. Chris Conley.
Hello. It's lovely to be here.
Good for Chris to join us today. This is his first time on the program there. But Chris has been, I guess you'd say, influential to me. I followed him when he was on Spill there and the crew, and I think made me be a person there. So blame him for giving my opinions on the internet shittily. I think it's Chris's fault. So blame him for that. But
Do you get a lot of flack about shitty opinions?
no, I don't.
Okay,
You know what
good.
I mean? No.
Because I'm like, hey, you can't put that on me, man.
But he's helping me review Jurassic Park 1993 here. I decided to do a retro review for Jurassic Park since Jurassic World Rebirth is out right now in theaters. So that would end up winning the poll on twitter.com afternoon tune. If people follow us there, they could vote on numerous polls that we put up there for retro reviews or future reviews that we do in the future there. There's another retro review I'm going to do pretty soon. I have to find time for it. Do 28 days later because there's 28 years later. So I'm going to do a retro review for that. Also do a retro review for Fantastic Four 2005. I'll do one for that since the new Fantastic Four movie is going to be coming out. At first, I know the poll, it had a Fan 4 stick that we were going to do, but I decided to do, you think Fan 4 stick is worse than 2005 Fantastic Four?
Oh my God, yes.
I do agree with that. Yes, I do think it is worse there.
It's not even a competition.
But I decided to do the 2005 one because I know the actor just recently passed away, Julian McMahon, who played Dr. Doom in that. So
yeah, I feel weird. The first thing I thought of was that movie when I saw he died, and I probably should have thought about Nip Tuck, which I have actually watched the whole thing. So I was like, it was weird. I would think of Fantastic Four instead, but I guess I got comic books on the brain, or at least that's what my mom likes to say.
So that's what we got. But I'll be out next week. We won't do a stream next week there. I'll be on a work trip, but I do have a future stream there the next week after that. But people just make sure to keep track on all the socials there to keep updated. But of course, the big movie coming out the week after next is Fantastic Four. That's the big one I'm going to come back and do a review for. But Chris, let people know about you, what you got going on, everything, man.
Well, first off, let me apologize to the audience in advance. If you hate cats, you're going to be hearing them. When the cats hear my voice, they will scream at the door. They're used to being things in recording sessions in my house where they're just allowed to walk around and jump on people's heads as we're recording, so they don't make a lot of sound. But when I'm behind a closed door, they're like, oh, let me in. I can hear you in there. So you might hear a bit of cat screaming. I promise they're not being hurt. They're just want to be with daddy. I am, of course, now on the site oneofus.net, along with the co-owner Wright Sulek. We do movies and TV shows. We're over a decade now in existence. We just recently reskinned the whole thing. Always working on new stuff. In fact, we're adding a bunch of new reviewers soon. We're having like an audition round next week with people. And I got many more responses for that than I thought. I was like, oh crap, this is going to be a lot of work. But it's really fun. I love talking about movies. I've been doing movies in an audio conversational format, review format since the 90s. It was like the late 90s. I joined up with Corey Coleman and Martin Thomas from The Real Deal, a public access show that was here in Austin. They were regulars at the bar I bartended at. After their show, they would come in and they were going to stop doing the show because one of their original members was going to leave to go to college. And I said, no, don't quit. I'll give up the shift. I'll come join you. Because they used to joke the bartender actually knows more about movies than we do, and we have a movie show. So I went and joined him on there. And then after several years of doing that sort of very funny thing that also was brought into that C. Robert Cargill, who of course is known for writing Doctor Strange and Sinister, amongst other things. We turned it into spill.com, where we became animated characters. Man, best job I ever had, Josh. I got to tell you, like I was making mad bucks, and all I had to do was watch movies, drink beer, and laugh with my friends about watching movies. It was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's continued on into this site. I'll say as far as Jurassic Park goes, I still hold it up in my just absolute top of one of my favorite movies of all time. Definitely one of my favorite Spielberg movies. Arguably my favorite Michael Crichton adaptation. I just every time I watch it, I'm always thinking, oh, this is gonna be the time I see it, and I see some big problem with it that I can never unsee it. But that hasn't yet to happen. Every time I watch it, I think it's great, which I wish I could say the same thing about any of the sequels. There's 7 of these goddamn things now. Um, but even the original book, I was a big Michael Crichton fan. I was reading all of his books when this book came out, so I was super excited. I bought it in hardback and read it right when it came out. The movie actually followed not too far from the release of the book because it was planned that way. It was optioned before he even wrote it. The one thing I remember from seeing this movie in the theater, which by the way, I'm a big horror fan and I've been a big horror fan since I was like a kid. This movie scared the living shit out of me in the theater, and I was like in my 20s. I was frozen with fear. Like, I don't know if I can stand this, which is so funny now because we watch all these Jurassic Park movies, and I'm like, oh, I guess this would have been scary if we hadn't already seen it 6 times before this. But no, so frozen with fear. But I was really annoyed coming out about one thing. Where's the whitewater rafting scene from the book?
Mm.
That was like one of the scariest parts of the book. And then it's just not in the movie. And they finally we're finally doing it in the new movie. And they're on a raft for like 10 seconds. And I'm like, this is not the whitewater raft. Just because there is whitewater does not make this the whitewater rafting scene. So that's yet another reason I'm annoyed at the new Jurassic World movie. But anyway, enough about me. What about Josh?
Well, thank you for that sum up there, Chris. Very much appreciated. And like I said, Chris is over there with a numerous of other plethora of other reviewers over here at oneofus.net. You can check you out reviewing everything, every movie, every show, every their movie coming on DVD as well. So you got that. Here you see the 2 most recent things they got. They got Jurassic World Rebirth, with Chris was just talking about. They also got Ironheart on here as well. There.
That's
Um,
weird. Jurassic World Rebirth is showing up as the newest. It should say Superman.
Mm. Okay, you just dropped Superman. Okay.
Yeah, a couple days ago. That's weird. I'm gonna have to double check that now.
Mm. Yeah, but yeah. So, and some
Technical
reviewers
issues.
have been on the show already before. Jordan has been on the show before. Nathan Flynn has been on before. So they've helped me review some stuff there. Actually, I was just asking Jordan just recently if she wanted to come on to help me do Sandman season 2. So
I'm sure she would.
there, but she's feeling a little conflicted. I mean, I know
Oh,
what happened with Neil Gaiman and that.
well, I will say you can't throw a rock without hitting somebody who's considered to be a legend in any art form who's done something incredibly shitty. Um, like a lot of the great painters and sculptors and musicians and whatever. But the way I always look at it is like, are they currently making money from this thing? Like, no, then shut the hell up. Who cares? And I found out that Gaiman had pulled himself away from this. The initial Netflix deal that was made, that was the end of the money he's making. And there's not going to be a 3rd season. So I'm kind of like, eh. And he wasn't even involved in this season at all, outside of the original source material. So it's like, look, if you liked his books at one point, then there's nothing wrong with still liking them. Just don't do anything that gives them any more money.
Yeah. So there's that. Do you think it was kind of capped the way they said? Because they said that this was the final season. Do you think that they only said that because of what happened with Neil Gaiman, or do you think that it? Do you trust that it was always supposed to be 2 seasons?
No, I'm sure it was going to be longer originally. They're really moving very quickly through a hell of a lot of material because it ends with the wake, apparently, the end of the Sandman. So there's no way they're including those like 6 major runs plus all the short stories in those episodes. So I'm sure it was going to be longer, but you know, from some reviews I've read, they've said, I thought, oh, this is going to be a shit show because of how fast they're going through it, but then they're like, you know what, I kind of like this choice of how they did it, just like go direct to the core stuff, get through it, forget about a lot of the side tangential stories. I'm like, okay, well, fair enough. I'll have to check it out for myself.
Mm, yeah. Well, and and be on. I think did you guys already upload that already? The Sandman season 2, or
Did we do it?
yeah?
No, I'm not. And also, I would not be on that review just because I mainly just do theatrical ones these days because I've just run out of time to commit to anything past the films we're actually seeing in person. I know there's a group on it, but I do not know what their timing is right now. I'm sure soon.
Okay, here it is, right here. Here's
Oh,
Superman.
there's Superman. It's just weird that the other one is saying it's newer because it's not.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Uh,
Anyway, go ahead.
but yeah, we reviewed Superman yesterday. We did that one. James
What'd
Gunn's.
you think?
I liked it. I liked it. I think it's a good start to the beginning of James Gunn, what he plans to do with the DCU. What about
Yeah,
you? Okay.
agreed.
Agreement. Agreed. Okay. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun there. I know some people have been saying I agree to some points. It's a little messy at times there. I
It's
think
not perfect. But as you said, it's a pretty good start to what he's doing. It's certainly a better Superman film to me than any of the Zack Snyder ones. Personal tastes, but I like a Superman who's the big blue Boy Scout. But yeah, it's messy, it's overstuffed, it's some of the humor is misplaced, and yet it's still pretty darn good.
yeah. So I gave.
Also, I would watch a spinoff just with Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane
Mm,
because she's like the best Lois ever. I love her.
yeah, yeah. I liked her as well. I was a little disappointed. Not really a whole lot of Clark Kent in this. Really, it's just mainly
No,
Yeah, but I like David Cornsweet. I thought he was good there. And I think as many characters that people worried about having the other characters, Hawk Girl and Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific, that it'll overshadow Superman. I don't think that happens, and I think they still keep Superman. I think at the center of this. And it seems like people you speak about spinoffs. People loving Mr. Terrific. There's
oh,
talk
he's
of him.
great.
Uh,
Yeah,
there's talk of
like
him maybe getting his own show. So.
it felt like they told him, think Samuel L. Jackson if he was kind of nerdy. That feels like what he's playing. He has that sort of Samuel L. Jackson energy, you know what I mean? Of
Mhm.
like, oh man, fuck you. I got that energy coming through from him. And it worked. He was of those three characters, he's the only one who really has anything to do. The other two are just kind of there for like jokes more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just read, I don't know 100% this is true, but I just read that David Cornsweet's grandfather invented the Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Oh, okay.
That weird little fun fact.
That is a weird little fun fact. Okay. Very good.
Anyway, Jurassic Park.
Yeah. So let's I'll pull my notes for it and we go ahead and get into it there.
Sweet. Open up the giant gates.
Yeah.
What's the joke? It's like you would never build gates that big unless you expected the dinosaurs to escape at some point.
Uh and then after this stream, I'll go ahead and rate somebody there on Twitch. I see some good people on there. Um, is there any reason maybe you guys would think about streaming on Twitch or maybe streaming on YouTube or anything like
We are investigating in the near future having more of a permanent camera setup, kind of the way that, well, Corey and Martin, the previous aforementioned friends who were on Spill with me, they have a show called Double Toasted, and they have more of a permanent setup. Our main thing is we keep rotating the places that we've been recording based on what the best equipment we have and the timing. But my partner on the show would like us to set up a permanent location so we could have permanent cameras, maybe even seats if people wanted to be there to watch or whatever. So that is in the plan, but we're not there yet. So for the longest time, I had zero interest. Otherwise, that would have happened by now. But he's like, we should do that. I'm like, okay. I don't know why anyone would want to see me, but
I think people want to see. I want to see you. Yeah.
oh, thank you, Josh. That's nice.
Yeah.
I don't
Uh,
believe you.
but Cosmopolitics is on right now. She's a political content streamer there, and she also does the show Movie Night Extravaganza. I've been a guest on that show. We did Goodfellas together.
Great
She's
movie.
on right now.
Hello.
Got people there on Mini Portables on right now. She's a wrestling content creator there.
Nice.
She is, I think, watching AEW. You're not a wrestling guy, are you?
Okay. I always have to. Brian Salisbury, who's on. Oh my God, remind me of the name of Brian's show.
Junk food
Junk
or
food cinema. So old, very dear friend, everything, but he loves to pretend like I hate wrestling. I do not. I just don't know anything about it. It's like the same thing with anime. People used to say, "You hate anime." I'm like, I really absolutely do not. I just don't. You have to. I watch so many movies and TV shows. Something's got to give. And there was like this dividing line. Okay, I'll watch the movies, just not the TV shows. And people were like, "You hate anime. You hate wrestling." I do not.
okay. And then people Grimlock flies on. He's playing Death Stranding. Do you play video games? Or are you too busy with?
It depends on what game is currently up and how busy I am, but yes, there are games that I put everything on pause and I tell my the other people on the site, "Hey, will you do this?" Because I'm playing the game. I got very sucked into a number of games over the past couple of years where I was like, everything in my life stops until I'm done playing this. But you know,
I think I don't know if you're already playing, but I think you would love the new Indiana Jones game. I think
I can't wait. I'm so excited. It's just like $70. So I'm like, you know what? I can wait till it's on the PlayStation Premium for free thing, which is what I usually do. Like I just
awesome.
finished playing all the Cyberpunk and that was amazing. It's so good. I can't believe it started off so crappy when it first came out and then playing it after several years I was like, "Holy shit, this is amazing." I couldn't stop playing it.
Yeah. So okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's also something you can do there. People can experience you doing that. Uh,
Yeah, I don't think I'll be live playing myself. I do appear on a live play show regularly called Rage Select, which features Professor Jeff, who used to be on Spill. In fact, I just recorded 3 episodes with him today.
oh yeah, I do listen to them as well. Rachel, like there, so
Hmm.
they're good guys over there. But yeah, all right. So yeah, that's who we could rate after this, and be out of here. All right. I want to get started. All right, so our first and only review of the day is going to be for the film Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park 1993, the OG Jurassic Park, very first Jurassic Park film, directed by Steven Spielberg here. This is the movie that started it all, that spawned numerous video games, sequels there, books as well. It and it was an adaptation initially from a book, as well with this film here, written by Michael Crichton there. And this was a legendary, iconic film that many people know there. One of the at the point when this movie came out and had its box office run, it was the highest grossing movie of all time before Titanic came out at the time, and been very successful at that. And you have actors in here. You had Sam Neill, who plays Dr. Grant in this. So you have Laura Dern in this as well, who plays Ellie. You have Jeff Goldblum in this, who plays Malcolm. And they play scientists here, going to the what we know as Jurassic Park here, held by who's the owner, Hammond there, who hosts these people, inviting them in, showing him these wonderful world that he's created of this theme park filled with all this wonder and magic and dinosaurs. And then what happens is when you create dinosaurs, well, dinosaurs, as all these movies do, they're going to get loose and they're going to eat people. And it's a lot of them trying to survive, escaping and running from these dinosaurs there that have been set loose there in this island due to a power outage that happens on this island. And but this,
And man's hubris against nature.
yes, and man's hubris
I would
against
say
nature,
more importantly due to that.
which Jeff Goldblum as Malcolm brings up a lot in this movie. There,
Ironically, Titanic, which beat it for biggest sales ever, is also about man versus nature, his hubris against nature. So,
yeah. So hey, thematics there. You gotta love them. But yes, that's the setup you got here with this. This is, like I said, this is the one that started all the other tropes you see with all these other Jurassic Park World movies. All came from this one. Annoying kids, the people running from dinosaurs, annoying businessmen being eaten. All that stuff right here came from this one there. And we're doing this because this ended up winning the poll of which retro review we should do of the Jurassic World series there. I had Jurassic World. I had Jurassic Park. I had Jurassic World. I had Jurassic World 3 and Jurassic Park 3 and then Jurassic Park 2. I've never seen the other Jurassic Park sequels. I've only seen the Jurassic World movies.
huh?
But I hear those are all pretty terrible. All the Jurassic Park.
Not compared to the Jurassic World movies.
Wow. So you think the sequels are worse than Jurassic World?
Yeah, I don't think there are any good Jurassic Park sequels overall. I think I know this is a controversial opinion because it's junky looking, and I'll give you that. But I think 3 is the best of all of the sequels. I think the rest are kind of awful, other than enjoying watching dinosaurs eat people, which I'm always for. I mean, I just watched Tammy and the T-Rex the other day in a theater. So, I'm like, oh, dinosaurs eating people? I'm there. Uh, but no, just I think this first film, I mean, there's a problem with having too much success, right? You do something so perfectly as the original Jurassic Park, which is, like I said, I think a perfect 10 out of 10 of a movie. There's How do you follow that? And the answer is, I'm not sure you can. The second one's even directed by Spielberg, and it's a mess, but it's definitely like has the most amount of feel in some ways to the original, partially because, like I said, Spielberg, but he's also trying to shove all this sort of King Kong stuff in there, not literally, but let's bring dinosaurs to New York City. And what could go wrong? I don't know. The sequels just got progressively sillier for me. The new one is trying to reboot that whole thing, but it's still very, very silly. I mean, come on. They actually said, "Oh, we'll make a dinosaur that can turn invisible" in the last Jurassic World. It's like, you guys gotta just stop. This is so dumb. Also,
Uh,
I know a billion people have said it. It's like, if you want to reboot Jurassic Park, maybe only include herbivores.
well, well, man, what's the fun in that? People want to see people eat, and tear things apart, man. Like lambs and things like that. They don't just see people eat people.
Well, see, that's the hubris against nature I was talking about right there. You got to go, hey, man, but yeah, sure, people want some things. You just can't have everything.
And so this was the last one to come out, Jurassic World Rebirth. I thought it was better than Dominion, so I guess that was my big praise for the movie. That I think it is better than Dominion. And I like some of the actors in this. Like I like Mahershala Ali and Scarlett Johansson. I think they do well with little material and they're fun. But it has all the same things there that I mentioned before in the Jurassic Park movie. There. What did you end up? What was your rating for this one?
I don't remember what the numerical rating was, but I was very like, I could think I was like, it's no higher, or say it's no lower than my lowest rating for a Jurassic World movie, but it's probably not higher than my highest rating for one. So I didn't particularly. I think it's really terrible script. I think it's got some really cool set pieces in it. Like some of the third act's got some awesome set pieces. The rappelling sequence is really cool. There's some real good stuff in it. It's just I'm hard pressed to care. You're like a bunch of mercs going, yeah, let's make a bunch of money from this island. And somebody, it felt like somebody at some point was like, we better insert an innocent family because otherwise everyone will be like, yeah, fuck those people, you know. And then I don't know, man. It's just another Jurassic World movie where I was like, you're not giving me anything new. The one thing I'll say from the previous Jurassic Worlds that they were like, this is what we're gonna do, and they never did, was the idea of like militarizing the dinosaurs. I would 1000% watch a movie where they're like, okay, now it's 20 years later, and we put microchips in like velociraptors' heads so soldiers can ride them into battle, and they've like bonded with them. Like, fuck yeah, give me that movie. I want to see the movie with like people going to battle with like riding different types of dinosaurs versus each other. Yes, please. But we're probably never going to get that movie.
Well, that sounds like a good idea. I think they might do that. I mean, hey, what else is there left? I mean, you can't just keep
Yeah,
running
they
away
can't.
from that dinosaurs.
Yeah, you can't keep doing the same story over and over and over again. And this is like that. Like even the ones that were trying something different, they ultimately just came back to the same shit. Like really stupid people putting themselves in the worst, dumbest possible situation. Even people from the last one, you're like, y'all know better. Like, why would you do this? Yeah. And I mean, like, and then the lameness of going, oh, they're like, oh, dinosaurs are free, they're everywhere, and instead of giving us like an apocalypse movie basically with dinosaurs where the earth and civilization has to have changed to deal with the fact there's fucking dinosaurs running around everywhere, they're just like, ah, they didn't like the temperature, so they died.
Yeah.
Like, that sucks.
But yeah. So hey, it's out in theaters now. I mean, people love dinosaurs, so it is making money. That's one thing consistent usually with these Jurassic World movies is the craving is still there for dinosaurs. But Chris, what were your thoughts on 1993 Jurassic Park?
Again, total masterpiece, one of the best scripts David Koepp ever wrote, who's kind of one of those, he's one of those guys who's written some of the most influential films like since the 80s, but also some of the worst ones. But what a great cast of people. Everybody's kind of perfectly cast in this. Jeff Goldblum was originally supposed to die early in the film, and they were like watching him in the early like filming, and they were like, we can't kill this guy. Like he's too great. And so they changed the script to keep him alive, which was the right decision to make here. The dinosaurs were so realistic. No one had ever seen anything that even faintly came close at this point. And believe me, I'm a guy who watched anything with dinosaurs before this, where I was like, if it had dinosaurs, I was going to go see it. These dinosaurs with a mixture between like CG, which at this point was very new, what they were doing. I mean, it looked so real. You felt like when the famous taking the glasses off Ellie scene and like turns her head and goes, look at the brontosauruses over here when she's looking at a bunch of plants. You felt like that looking at those CG brontosauruses going, Jesus Christ, that's insane. And then so much of these things are animatronic and just beautifully designed. I mean, the T-Rex breaking out of its gate and attacking the kids in the car is still to this date, I would put in the top 10 scariest things I've ever seen in my entire life. That scene is terrifying. And that animatronic T-Rex, of which they built multiple different sizes of, including a full, like, real life sized one. That's insane amount of work to go to, which they certainly have never repeated for any of the sequels. It shows the quality and attention to detail here. I feel like Spielberg wanted, like, he was like, I did Jaws. I kind of missed making Jaws. What if I made Jaws and I had the money to make Jaws the way I wanted to make Jaws and not with the thing that broke all the time? So you get that, right? Like Jaws, they built this huge mechanical shark. It never worked. They thought that was it. Turned into the greatest movie, one of the greatest movies ever made. But can see him going, let's redo a Jaws type movie, humans running from the animal predators, but now with equipment that will not fail and will work and do exactly what I want it to. I wonder how that would turn out. And as it turns out, it was Jurassic Park, even though they should have all had feathers and a velociraptor is about the size of a chicken. But that's okay. This version is better to look at.
Yeah, it was groundbreaking. I mean, like you said, in the use of computer generated images there by industrial light and magic. So like you said, to the point where nobody had ever seen anything like this before. That scene, I just played a clip of it where you see where Grant and you see with Ellie there, where they're looking at the dinosaur for the first time, being driven there to Jurassic Park, and they try to do a replicate another scene like that again in Jurassic World Rebirth, where they do something similar, replicate it, and it doesn't really work because it's like, well, the magic is kind of gone because we've already seen this before, and you can't just replicate that again. It's like trying to see the xenomorph again with Alien. It's like it just doesn't have that same impact on it. And yeah, I mean, the absolute kind of the way the kind of movie progresses there, having these people kind of here discussing the back and forth about the nature of should you be doing this is very interesting as well. Of creating these dinosaurs just because you can do something, does that mean you should do something? Which I think is also kind of interesting there. There's interesting tidbits in the movie. One person keyed me to something that I didn't notice while I was watching the movie of I think it was Grant, who's Alan Grant, who's played by Sam Neill, who's using these seat belts, and then he cobbles together two female seat belts together, and then that kind of is a symbolism for the movie there of how the dinosaurs there, even they think that they're going to prevent the breeding by having just female dinosaurs there, but they use in order to create a gap to fill the gap within the DNA. They used frogs, and then frogs have the ability to change the gender, so they were able to kind of still reproduce there, which I thought was really good. And then also there's a scene there, and I think it's on the computer of Samuel Jackson's character, or a computer in the another office where you see J. Robert Oppenheimer. You see a photo of him on it as well. There, how many things like that do you notice in the movie?
I mean, there's almost, like I said, there's almost nothing that you can take away from this film that doesn't work. I don't really think about this film in terms of those Easter eggs. I'm more into the, like I said, like admiring the effects level. Like I always think of the Triceratops when they're like she's putting her ear on its chest and it's breathing and going, just trying to see a flaw in that creation, and you cannot. Um, I I'm No, I know there's a ton of stuff like what you're talking about here. I just don't normally think about it when I'm watching it. I always get swept right back into the world of the film, and I'm like, I'm all in. Uh, I have heard a story, and I again don't know 100% this is true, but I've heard it in multiple different places. So I'm starting to go from different like sources. So I'm starting to think that, and not just on the internet, from like actual people working in Hollywood. So I'm starting to think this is true, that the full size T Rex was in a, like, what do you call it, a sound stage that was locked because they didn't want people sneaking in there and taking pictures of it and stuff ahead of time to release to the press. And there was a night watchman. The thing is, it did have a certain degree of animatronics. It could turn its head, it could swing its tail, it could open its mouth, all that. And people would still try to sneak in there even to just show their like girlfriend or whatever. And so he'd be sitting there in the booth and he'd see them come in. And he'd be like, press the dinosaur movement button just to watch people shit their pants and go running out of there.
Oh, pretty good.
Yeah, I would shit my pants in that case. Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think it wouldn't be a big pile of shit like this in this movie, but I think
True.
it would accumulate enough in the pants.
I was thinking though, like even though this is the second stage of monsters with animal monsters chasing humans that are almost impossible to stop in this phase, but most things like that monster movies, they start with one monster, like Alien,
Mm,
then they go to, oh shit, now there's a bunch of monsters like Aliens. And Alien 3 was originally supposed to be Alien Earth War, right? It's even on the 4K with, they show you the original teaser with like the Earth and then a hand of an alien coming down over it, which is now what the new Noah Hawley TV show plot is going to be. So thank goodness. So that's the 3 stages. There's not a lot of stories to tell that are going to be as scary or as interesting other than those 3 stages. Like every zombie series tends to go through those where you're like, oh shit, there's a few zombies. Oh shit, there's a ton of zombies. Okay, now zombies are everywhere and we're just hiding. You know, I feel like Jurassic Park has run out of places to go with the standard formula, which is why they should have gone with the, okay, now there's just dinosaurs everywhere and we got to figure out how to live with them. But we didn't get that. Anyway, yeah, a lot of the stuff in here, the science is ridiculous. It's like all things with Michael Crichton. It's based on a truth, and then he adds a yeah, but what if, that is total nonsense, and then you get this, and he's really good at that, and it's fun. And most people would watch this and never go, well, wait, that wouldn't work, and that's how Crichton does it. And also, who cares, right? Because it sounds like real science.
yeah.
Even though now I just found this out. Oh my god, what's his name? Peter Jackson. Everyone's like, why hasn't he made a movie in 11 years? Well, apparently he's been spending a lot of his time trying to recreate a giant prehistoric bird that was 12 feet tall, to clone it and bring it back into existence. And I'm like, wait, what? A 12-foot tall, like, I forget what it was called, like the giant rock or something like that. And I'm like, what? Why? But why? Have you not seen Jurassic Park, Peter Jackson? This could not possibly end well. But even though that wouldn't happen the way it does here, you don't get DNA out of mosquitoes that's in amber that would be active that you could do anything with. That wouldn't even work. But it's a cool idea. I think all the performances here are top notch, like really career changing for every single actor in this movie. Like, except for Richard Attenborough, who at that point was kind of at the end of his career, and the kids who didn't really go on to anything after this. But everybody else, like Wayne Knight, even, you remember Wayne Knight, the guy? He's best known from Seinfeld. He was in like every movie for the next decade. Like, you look through his IMDb, you're like,
Space
holy
Jam.
shit, this guy was in like 5-6 movies a year. It was ridiculous. Just like in small little roles, but hey, there's Wayne Knight. And then Samuel Jackson, who, obviously became one of the biggest stars in the whole world, but here has a relatively small, but with lines role. And then just a few years later, he is absolutely one of the most A-list of A actors. Like, everybody went on to much better things after this.
Mm, yeah. And when they brought everybody back, when they brought the core cast back, Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum for Dominion, they also aged really well. I think I remarked that in the movie that they all still look really good there. And then you still see Sam Neill and stuff there. Hunt for the Wilder People, which was a recent movie there as well.
Great
Uh,
movie.
Yeah, that was a good movie there. Jeff Goldblum, who people saw in Marvel stuff there. He was in Thor Ragnarok as well, and he pops up there in different things. Laura Dern there, who got a great career after there with David Lynch movies there as well, which was big there. So yeah, I mean, all of them went to do really great things afterwards after this. Um, and I think with this one, you mentioned like how there's the different stages with kind of a franchise, and it seems like with Jurassic Park, it's just like okay, well, we got to create bigger dinosaurs. Like they actually seem to be following more what like actual the theme park there of what they're trying to do. Of like it's always the theme of people are especially with these Jurassic World movies is we got to create bigger, scarier dinosaurs for people to be interested in, and it just feels like a kind of a somewhat meta commentary on people just trying to get interested in Jurassic Park again and get people back into the theater there. Do you think as a franchise, Jurassic Park, do you think it's when it's the first movie onwards, do you think it's what has one of the worst movies, or do you think maybe something like RoboCop or something like
Oh,
Jaws have worse sequels?
so here's the thing, like the Jurassic Park franchise, even the least expensive one, which I'm sure has got to be Jurassic Park 3, but directed by Joe Johnston, who's a great director. He did the first Captain America movie, did The Rocketeer, a bunch of great stuff. Uh I mean, you watch it, you're like, okay, this is clearly like they were trying to save money on a lot of things, but it still looks like a movie. You're like, this looks like a in theaters movie, which it of course was. Every movie in there looks like an in theaters movie. There's a certain level of quality it never dips below, right? Even if the scripts are stupid as hell, the movie still feels like a proper movie. One cannot say that of most of the other big monster franchises. Like pretty much right after Jaws 2, you're like, oh, this looks for sure like something that didn't play in the theater. It did, but it sure doesn't look like it. It looks like a direct to VHS movie. Um, yeah, I don't to say. Is there any? You can watch any of these movies for the fun of the action sequences and the special effects. Even the worst one, you're still like, wow, these effects are pretty good, and the action sequences are at least points pretty cool.
Mm,
That's what I can say. I think it's superior to a lot of other franchises, at least in that context.
yeah. And then also another thing right here is just like the sound of it is also really good. I mean, so even a movie that's over 20 years old, I think still the effects still work today. I think it's always how great I think a movie is if the effects can still work over there. I mean, yes, it's still you still have that some kind of going on with it's like okay, clearly you can see the distinct between people and the computer generated image, but I think with the sound and like the mix of animatronics plus the CGI, it all works kind of seamlessly together and then creates a great experience there with that. And what do you think? Why don't you think they've been able to replicate kind of what they've done here with this Jurassic Park movie and then make it as
Well,
great or somewhat come close to this way?
well, for one thing, the original is made by Steven Spielberg. He's one of the all-time great pop film directors. Like it's there are direct movies by him I like less than others, but I don't think he's ever made now bad movie because he's a really amazing director who's also often to be able to finesse a script that maybe initially not great into something that is. I think that's a big part of it right there. And two, like I said, where are you going? You're just making bigger dinosaurs. What difference does it make when even the ones that are the size of a small horse are just as deadly and dangerous as one that's a kaiju sized? Like either way, you're going to die. So how is that scarier? you know, it's they need. I think people watching these are going, yeah, cool, dinosaurs eating people. When are we going to get something a little bit different in plot? I'll hand it to the guy from the first trilogy. He was at least tentatively dancing around doing something different with the plot, but again, it's just the same movie over and over again, and that's the biggest problem. Like you could ask yourself, what if 3 or 2 was the first movie, or Jurassic World 1 was the first movie, and there was no previous Jurassic Park? I don't know. I can't contextualize that in my own head. I think those movies are dumb enough on multiple points of the script and some bad performances that like probably wouldn't be considered to be as good as the original, but yeah, they just need to figure out something they need to reinvent it in a big way and not just people go to an island, they get eaten. Something different.
Yeah. And Colin Trevorrow, who directed the first Jurassic World movie and started and kicked things off there with his Jurassic World series of movies there. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting. I mean, I think maybe a director could kind of come in with an interesting take to kind of do something there. Like you said, it does have the daunting task of being followed up by Steven Spielberg, who he himself couldn't even do a good Jurassic Park movie apparently there with that.
Oh, by the way, the scene you were showing with the sound with the T Rex busting through the plexiglass. Apparently, the kids were not told that the plexiglass was going to punch down on them for the first take of that because he wanted to really see them get terrified for a second, which is that's Hollywood in the early 90s. But those kids, they look terrified because they are really scared. They know it's not real, but that was not supposed to do that, to punch through the plexiglass like that. So they're like, oh Jesus Christ. I would have shit my pants even knowing it wasn't real.
Yeah. They do a really, I mean, especially the girl in here. I mean, she does a really good job at looking scared and
Mm.
screaming, and I mean, she does a really good job at that. What do you think about the kind of the characterization here with like Grant, Dr. Grant, and with Ellie? Like, some big part of early in this movie is introducing these characters and the fact that maybe they're flirting with the idea of having a kid or not having a kid, and he's very much against that. What did you kind of think about that dynamic?
I like that they were intentionally vague about their relationship. You get the feeling that maybe they've had some flings, but it was nothing super serious, that they're still dancing around something. I don't get the feeling they were ever super serious, that they really respect each other, but their careers are really what interests them the most. And that part of the problem was as well, like, yeah, he's not a big kids guy. In fact, you see how much he enjoys scaring the shit out of a little kid with a velociraptor claw in the beginning of the film. Uh, and it's about him bonding with these kids. I mean, that's probably the biggest character beat of the whole film, is him learning to actually feel comfortable around these children. Laura Dern is there to go, aw. I mean, she's great on multiple levels. And then of course Jeff Goldblum's there to go, I told you, which is what the audience is doing the whole time. He's the audience avatar of you going, don't do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And Jeff Goldblum, and somebody mentioned, I was talking to somebody about the movie that I don't know, is it intentional them trying to make him a sex symbol?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I actually just listened to a podcast on Blank Check about the original Jurassic Park, and they were like, I think it was his idea, but they were originally supposed to be like, he was more of a traditional nerdy scientist, and he's like, but what about this? And they were like, no, and then it was like, but look at this, and did kind of like a tape of the doing the character this way, and they were like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe let's try that.
Yeah. And
I would not have pictured him as a sex symbol, but then again, he's super sexy in The Fly too. He's also playing a really sexy scientist, so this kind of became a thing. And if you ask, like a lot, it's certainly not all women, taste different, but a lot of women will tell you like their ultimate icon for sexiest guy in film ever is him in this movie. I don't 100% get it either, because I think he's kind of gross. Like in the movie, you're like, yeah, he's kind of a weird proto Elon Musk, except if like you were actually, there was some degree of you physically that was attractive. Like he's wearing like the 70s shirts pulled all the way down and big chains and the leather and all that. I'm like, this is absurd. Now it seems more absurd now probably than it did then, but nonetheless, man, people were into it. They like oiled him up for the scene where he's like injured and lying there, that they've even made a Funko Pop out of that scene where he's lying there with
oh
his
yeah.
shirt open. I was like, they oiled him all up for it, so he's even sexier. I was like, hey man, I guess whatever works. I don't think anybody could have seen, you couldn't have put that on paper and made people go, yeah, sure, let's do that. Because that's what seemed absurd, but it worked.
Yeah. And this is I'll show a photo of it right here. Yeah, so that's
Yeah,
him.
there you go.
And if people want to see a funny GIF, you could also look at that where you have somebody splice like Sam Neill laying on Jeff Goldblum's stomach, breathing up and down. If
Yeah.
I want to also take a look at that there as well. But yeah, I mean, so and let me I'll play this clip here. One of his, and he's got a lot of kind of classic scenes, lines in this movie as well. There, and this is the "Life Finds a Way" kind of clip. There.
It's not possible. Listen, if there's one thing the history of evolution has taught us, it's that life will not be contained. Life breaks free, it expands to new territories, and it crashes through barriers painfully, maybe even dangerously. But, uh, well, there it is. There it is.
You're implying that a group composed entirely of female animals will breed?
No, I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
There you go. BD Wong, the only actor who was in every single Jurassic movie, except I guess he's not in the new one. I can't remember. I don't remember seeing him in there, but he was in every single one.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Yeah,
know he was in every one. Okay.
he's in all of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Getting some good checks for him then.
He in the book he's one of the main characters. In the movie, he's kind of played very down as like a tertiary character.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, does it ever get into much like in the other movies why he's so crazy and why he wants to make these dinosaurs? Or
I mean, for the Richard Attenborough character, the guy who owns the park, I mean, it's because the childlike wonder. I want to show kids. He wants to be Walt Disney, you know,
yeah,
and I think that's easy enough to understand, right? It's just he's not taking into account the fact that there's some things you can't control, as Jeff Goldblum is pointing out, you know, and making giant dinosaurs that hunt and kill people is just not a good idea,
mm,
even if you're doing it for the most noble of purposes.
but yeah, so classic role from Jeff Goldblum there as Malcolm there, very iconic role there. And you said so no issues with this movie. You think it's pretty much just
Yeah, I can't think of anything I don't like about the original Jurassic Park. Even the John Williams score is one of his best scores ever. I think this is an amazing, iconic. The moment you hear it start, you know what you're listening to. Scores.
mm. And I just reviewed Superman 1978, which has the John Williams score in that as well.
Yes.
And we were just trying to discuss, I mean, which is more iconic? He's got a lot of ones. He's got this, he's got Jurassic Park, he's got Indiana Jones. I mean, if you had to, I mean, are you able to pick one? Maybe John
No,
Williams,
absolutely not. There's way too many. You forgot Star Wars. You're
Star
just like
Wars.
the
Yeah.
list goes on and on and on. It's John Williams. He's one of the greatest composers of like a generation. You know, it's hard to. I don't think there's anybody who's more iconic as a somebody who wrote scores for films. I mean, there's just too many to list. I mean, the one that gets stuck in my head the most is Superman. There's something just about the beginning of that score that just every time starts my heart beating right, which I was really hoping the new one would just flat out steal that, just do the whole dun 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 dun, and sort of work its way into it. So I would have known immediately what was happening. I've been like, oh yeah, let's do this, but they did not. Anyway, yeah, so many good scores. It's worth owning a John Williams collection. There's even some of the scores you're unfamiliar with or movies you haven't seen. Man, they're still great. There's so many great themes. I like Catch Me If You Can. That's one of my favorites.
Oh, that's a good one too. I love Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
That's a good one as well there. Yeah. And would you say so? What scene to you stands out the most in Jurassic Park?
Well, I mean, there's so many, but like when I think of Jurassic Park, the first thing that comes to my head is the image they always use to show you for Jurassic Park, which is the T-Rex at the end with the "When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth" banner falling down by him. I mean, that was such a perfect Spielberg moment, and it really is like represents the movie quite well.
Mm, yeah, and it's the ending is them having to run away so they can, of course, helicopter. They got to get on the helicopter, get it off the island there, which was very big there. Yeah, and that I mean, like I said, these characters been running all around, escaping, trying to survive. I mean, he's beat through hell absolutely there. Uh, but yeah, this was also a very great scene. I think for me, probably the best scene I love when they're just really mostly talking, like at the beginning there, when you see them taking a tour of the island, and you like I said, Hammond wants to be Walt Disney, wants to kind of have this wonder there with these dinosaurs and kind of have people experience it. Um, even though he has these people telling him that this is an incredibly bad idea. He's got Jeff Goldblum, he's got Sam Neill, as Alan Grant there about just the overall dangers of what this kind of could present to people. But he wants to open it to the world and be accessible to average everyday people to have that there, which I thought that was really good. So I like a lot of those kind of early kind of scenes there with that. And yeah, I mean, you mentioned still looks really great with it. A lot of that going on.
I would say the second scariest scene in here is the velociraptors in the kitchen. That is also almost as scary as the T-Rex out in the yard. But yeah,
yeah, and
just good all the way through.
this is where the banner falls right here.
Yeah.
With that there. Yeah, which that the Velociraptor scene in the kitchen that's also gets copied a lot in a lot of these Jurassic, even just the recent one actually just recently copied that in that movie as well. But I'm gonna get your final thoughts and rating for this. So, what is your final thoughts and rating there? And so, our rating system. So, the absolutely highest rating you can give something is this is cinema. Then below that is a peak. Then below that is a tune in. Then below that, stream it. If you want to give it a negative review, which I know you're not going to do, but there is waste of fucking film. It's the very lowest you can give something. Then after that is a burn it. Then after that is a skip it or tune out. So, what would be your final thoughts and rating for Jurassic?
You said this is cinema is the highest, I believe, right?
Yeah, very high.
100% is. This is 10 out of 10. This is cinema. It's just so much fun. It still holds up today. It's amazing to me that the effects in this are better than the effects in any of the sequels. And it's been how long since this came out? You said
over 30 years ago.
Yeah,
32.
that's amazing. But it still to me looks better than any of the sequels, especially the animatronic ones. But that's like the argument between practical effects and computer effects. Practical effects, if they're done with the right amount of attention and skill, will always look better than computer effects, at least until we reach that point past the uncanny valley, which we haven't gotten to yet, but getting closer all the time, I suppose. Yeah, it's just so fun. It's so well written. It's actually an improvement over Crichton's novel, which is great, but certain things get Spielbergized in the exact way that they should be to make this into a film, especially Jeff Goldblum's character, who's kind of more of not a villain, but an asshole in the book. And I'm really glad they made him more of he's still a little slimy, but in a fun way here. You can't hate him,
Yeah.
This is just pure fun, pure great movie. If I had kids, I would want to take them to see this in a theater when they were old enough to deal with it.
And I mean, Jeff Goldblum is always funny. Like he's trying to push up on Laura Dern in this, and like, okay, you're two kind of a thing or not a thing, or am I good? Is there a green light here for me to go ahead? I kind of like that a lot in it. But you're right. I mean, this is as cinema as you can get. I mean, seeing this for the first time on the big screen, absolutely amazing experience for viewers at that time. Um, and it still, I think, holds up even after all these years later. This is classic Spielberg at his peak there with the John Williams score as well attached to it, with the great performances here. Like I said, everything from all the other Jurassic Park movies comes from this Jurassic Park film there, all the classic stuff that we know and love. And it was refreshing to kind of see it again. I haven't watched this movie in a long time, so it was very refreshing to do that. This was, of course, nominated for Academy Awards there. Ended up winning 3. Ended up winning for sound, visual effects there. It had that as well there with that. And also technical achievements. This, on a budget of $63 million, made $1.058 billion there. Like I said before, early in the review, it was the highest grossing movie at the time until the release of Titanic, which came out in 1997. So surpassing it in 1998. There is officially the new highest grossing movie of all time. Is Titanic still it, or is it Avatar? They keep going back and forth, right, between Titanic, Avatar.
I was just listening to something that was saying, oh, okay. So Avatar got beat by something, but then the Avatar re-release ended up making it the top spot again. So it's Avatar.
Okay, I think Avengers Endgame beat it, right?
I think it was Endgame that beat it, but then the re-release beat it, put it back in the top spot. Okay. Which doesn't seem fair, right? You're like, that shouldn't count. Like it should be initial run.
Well, I think didn't Endgame come back into theaters so it could beat Avatar? I think it
did it?
Yeah, I think it came back into theaters so it could beat Avatar.
Well, shit, I would have paid to go see it like 4 or 5 more times if I'd realized that's what we were fighting for.
Yeah.
I'd be like, here's Josh over here on my left.
And this movie also got put into the National Film Registry.
Well, it should.
There for being culturally and historically or aesthetically significant there. Do you think this is the best Spielberg movie, or is this your favorite
No,
Spielberg?
no, it's. I mean, it depends on who you ask. It's certainly perfect. Spielberg's got a number of films I would say are 10. Like in terms of my personal favorite is Catch Me If You Can. That's the one I find at this stage of my life I rewatch the most. But at different times in my life, it's been different movies. You're like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Not a thing wrong with that movie. That's great. 10 out of 10. E.T. I think is a 10 out of 10. Like there's so many Close Encounters of the Third Kind. There's just so many movies that he's made that I'm like, this is as good as you could hope to make a movie about this. So if this was your favorite, I'd be like, nothing wrong with that. But like, at least at this moment in time, it's in my top 5, certainly of Spielberg's, but
Yeah. I know Spielberg movie. I mean, the Minority Report got put into the New York Times 100 best.
I saw that. Yeah.
Do you agree with that, or
I've only seen it. I've only seen it when it originally came out. I would definitely have to rewatch it multiple more times before I had a feeling about that. I barely remember it at this point, to be honest.
So yeah, that was Jurassic Park 1993. 2 This Is Cinemas for it. Chris recommends, hey, if you're going to see a sequel, see the third one. If you're going to see a sequel. So.
Yeah, which different people tell you different things. I know people were like, "What, the third one? That's terrible." I'm like, there are aspects of it that is terrible, but I would just say, be one of those people who's like, when we talk about the Matrix films, we're like, man, the Matrix, such a great movie. It's too bad they never made a sequel because they didn't.
Does the Animatrix count as a?
Oh man, you got me there. The Animatrix is pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, that was our review. Thank you so much, Chris. It was a pleasure, man. I very much appreciate having you on there. Been an honor having you on. Like I said,
Josh, it was an honor to be invited. I appreciated the invite. It was fun talking to you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll go ahead. I'll read Cosmopolitics there. But one more time, Chris, let people know about you. What you find you, what you got going on.
Go to oneofus.net. We're on Facebook and Blue Sky and Instagram. We're no longer on Twitter because I don't care for using Twitter. We do movies, TV show reviews. We've lately started doing mini series from some of our longtime reviewers. Right now, we have one that's about the films Betty Davis and Joan Crawford by our own Frank Calvillo. That's quite fun. And then soon we're going to have one called Heart/Felt, which is about the history of Muppets in film. But we've got all kinds of stuff here. Digital Noise is one of our big shows where we review home releases, 4Ks, that sort of thing. So yeah, please come check us out. I think if you like conversational reviews, then and with a lot of comedy, I think you'd enjoy listening to the site. There's so many funny, smart people on there. I'm not counting myself. But there are a lot of funny, smart people that are on it with me that I'm lucky enough to call my friends and coworkers on it. And I think you'll enjoy it.
Awesome, man. I do enjoy it. I do listen to the reviews there, and do enjoy the chemistry between the cast there.
Thank you, Josh.
It's awesome, man. Very good. Well, make sure to check them out over there at oneofus.net. And to all you people out there, stay tuned. Out of here.